sky. Well, you cry out and you don't know why. Come on now, let your feet fly. Come on now, let's go for a ride. Come on now, let your feet fly. Oh, let it fly. Come on, come on.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Red Couch. I'm Ash.
I'm Izzy Dakota Jones, and this is Andy.
Greetings.
He's our neighbor.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people on our show are our neighbors, but this guy is our neighbor in the building with us.
He's
Neighbor.
in the neighbor.
Down the stairs, down the hall.
Yeah, that's right. Stay away from his stuff.
That's right.
Okay, so
Speaking of stuff, I got a funny story for you.
well,
I was moving some furniture down in my place, and I had a couple bookshelves, and no names will be mentioned, but I left these two bookshelves outside my door. So I go back in, I'm organizing stuff and kind of get it going. Come back out, there's one gone.
Oh, wow.
So my neighbor next door, who owns the restaurant, I go, hey dude, have you seen anybody take a bookshelf? He goes, no man. So another guy comes walking down the hall, and I kind of knew who he was. I'm going, dude, have you seen anybody take a bookshelf? He goes, yeah, it was me. So he was kind of like,
awesome.
you know, you leave your stuff out there, and with the best of intentions, and
That's
boom,
right.
there goes your bookshelf, man.
Yeah.
Wow.
Thanks, Rob. We love you, Rob. Anyway, so what kind of interesting stuff have you been doing in the building?
Well, we got to go in the Wayback Machine. We moved in here in 1995.
Nice.
And the attraction was, my wife and I both had our own businesses in addition to working in live theater and doing, live sound for myself and wardrobe for her.
Right on.
And,
I bet you know my family.
and probably do. And we sort of wanted a place where we could just do our, practice our wares. So we set up an area for her to work, and I had my studio area, mainly for editing and, simple stuff, sometimes, voiceover recording, that kind of stuff. And it was great. It was really, really good. And in 2000, we had the opportunity to get a place downstairs. So we got a place down there, and that's where I set up my kind of strange world of emporium of whatever tickles your giblets.
Yeah. Cool. That's cool.
The giblet tickler.
Yeah. So what I noticed when I first met you, and Rob introduced me, and I looked in your cool place, was the stereo stuff.
Yes.
You're creating turntables and stuff, and that was so interesting.
That's a weird evolution. Obviously I'm old enough to have grown up with vinyl.
Yeah.
So for me, vinyl wasn't something I discovered or esoteric, or it's kind of like the latest thing. It's just music, right?
Right.
And in my professional career, in the last 20 years, I went to all digital, and I worked with every imaginable format and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it's not like, I'm sort of discovering it or like, a dyed-in-the-wool analog guy. But what happened was I was working a lot in live theater, and my partner passed away in the States.
Oh.
And we were doing some really large projects, and I went through cancer myself. And so like, oh no, it's all good, man, I'm alive. And the thing is, if you don't know, then you die, like my buddy. So for all you watching, get your testing done. Early discovery is really good. And for a couple of weeks, I felt kind of shitty, and I just wanted to do some stuff. Like, it wasn't an ongoing long adventure.
Right.
But I went, okay, what skills do I have that I can take from my past and put them all into one pot and kind of start doing some stuff. So the first project was, let's build a tone arm out of scrap in the studio. Like, I got a great turntable from the 80s, right? I got a beautiful turntable. So it's not like I'm lacking for anything.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of going like, can I do better than that?
Yeah.
Right, so I did a lot of research and stuff like that, and found some really cool vintage things, and I found some wood, some aluminum, and built up a tone arm, and it's like, shit, this thing works. Not only does it work, it sounds pretty damn good, right?
Yeah.
And that's the bug, right? From
Wow.
there, it just kind of went.
Wow. I know, it was very interesting. The different looks of them and different styles that you have, right? It's very interesting to me.
And the biggest thing that we're
Do you sell them? Do you get them?
I've sold a couple.
Yeah.
You guys know Dale, right?
I think-
Photographer?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, he's got one of my turntables.
Yeah.
So I got a few out there, but I'm not pushing it super hard just yet because the market is really fickle. You don't want to push too hard right away.
Right.
You want to work with your friends, and if there's any flaws, fix them. Make sure it
Yeah,
works
yeah,
perfect.
exactly.
And just keep growing organically, right?
Yeah.
And that's kind of the way to do it. But what got it going was after I built the first couple of prototypes of the plywood and scraps, I kind of had this 3D printer I had sitting around since 2015. Just sitting around. Yeah. So this thing had been sitting in my studio looking at me like a motherfucker going, dude, when are you gonna fucking finish me? Because I started in 2015. I was teaching at UBC at the time. I was just too busy. Right, I had all this shit going on. I was teaching, designing, and stuff, and I kind of went, okay, you're gonna sit there, and sat there for like at least 7 years,
Wow.
just looking at me, going, bastard.
Right? I can do so much.
It's like, I can do so much with you. So we finally got it together in its first incarnation with the first, software and all the controllers. And I was like, hey, this thing's actually making things, right?
Yeah.
And then I kind of honed it down with the latest Clipper software, which is the package to really get really fine refinements and control. And I went, dang, this is good. Then I said, okay, well, this is working, right? So then I got this big Mondo kit I got from China. And it was like, and it's not China's not derogatory, they're making the best shit in the world right now.
Yeah.
But this company's not one of the best. So
Right.
basically you get this massive kit, but then you got to get other companies who are also from China that are fucking brilliant, right? Producing amazing stuff. And you hop it up.
Wow.
Like Big Tree Tech and these companies, they're like mind blowing, right? So you get all these hop up kits. So I got this thing this big so I can print like huge parts. So I brought a couple of parts along today. I'll show you. So the first part I built for the turntable was I decided to make it the body like this. Because the first incarnation was an IKEA shelf, literally an MDF IKEA shelf.
Right.
And it worked flawlessly because MDF absorbs all the vibrations.
Sure.
So this is the first one I built. It's 3D printed all the way through.
Yeah.
And it basically was a tragic experiment in misdirection. What happened was this thing vibrated like a donkey in heat, and it just wasn't working. So what I did was, on further units, I made it hollow and I filled it with epoxy.
Okay.
So it's kind of, at that point it gets into the weird esoteric kind of audio.
That's because it gets it's got more density, right?
Exactly, kills the vibrations.
Right.
So once I got this thing sorted out, the rest kind of followed really good.
Wow.
And I didn't bring a turntable in, but there's a platter that goes with it. It's also epoxy filled, and that one's really mature, really working well. I'm doing a couple of reviews right now. I got a company out of Ontario, Tricell Enterprises. They sent me a $6,000 cartridge to review. So like it's kind of getting a bit of traction. So I mean, they figured if you trash this thing, they wouldn't really send you something.
Yeah.
So that's going. I call this one a little pucker because it sits on 4 hockey pucks.
Oh,
So
cool.
it's a very Canadian thing, right?
Yeah.
So this was the first version. Then I got into more strange things. I decided to try, there's a concept in turntables where you don't want the platter to be heavy. Like you guys have seen those things that look like a fridge, right? They cost like $200,000, there's layers, and basically, it withstand like a seismic earthquake. But there's another way to do it. You can go lightweight and have the computer do all the work.
So this is like when you balance your turn.
Yeah, this was the first version. The second version I made a bit thicker to get the weight in there. But that was just like, basically you need a little bit of weight around the periphery. So what I did was I made this thing, and there's just a simple acrylic thing that sits on top of it. And it worked. It worked really, really well. It needs a bit of refinement still, but the concept with the lightweight things is, when you have something heavy and you hit it, the vibrations last a really long time.
Yes,
It's called stored vibration in the turntable. These guys, because they're light, the vibrations will get in there and they'll do some stuff, but they won't last as long.
Right, okay.
So the whole idea with the lightweight platter is you basically make something that's lighter, doesn't store all the vibration.
Cool.
That is cool.
But it's a lot harder to keep going because you don't have the mass. So right now what I'm working in, I'm experimenting further with some motors and more like, I had to code all the computer stuff to control it. It's actually computer controlled, both turntables.
Is that because there'd be like a little bit of inertia to keep it
Exactly.
spinning with the weight? Yeah. Okay.
So like the little pucker is easy because it has more weight.
Little fucker.
Yeah.
I love that. Man.
So the little pucker just spins along. And
That term.
so that guy is super happy, but it's still computer controlled. Like right now there's a thing called Simple FOC, it's Simple Field Oriented Control.
Okay.
So what it does basically, you get a brushless motor and you get this, you're running it off an Arduino. And the coding basically just sends the pulses in a much more even manner. So it runs way smoother than just a regular motor without the field oriented control.
Okay.
So
And like an electric motor, like all our turntables have?
it's different. The older turntables had, often they were AC synchronous, so they'd synchronize to the current.
Okay.
And then the pulley's got to be the perfect size.
And then we'd have to make that dot stop moving or whatever, right?
So that was a kind of a different scenario there, but this guy here, like if say the belt stretches, I just go in and reprogram.
Oh, okay.
And that's the advantage. Like it's super accurate, plus you can basically allot for you don't even care what the ratio is. You just punch in the code until you get the right speed.
Okay, so this is pretty important. This is a question for both of you guys. I'll answer it at the end.
No.
But what's the first record you ever bought?
Oh, yeah, that's good.
Oh my goodness.
With your own money.
My own money. We're going back to the 70s.
Me too.
My brother had
Us too, I'm sure. I mean, you tell me.
My brother had a lot of cool records, but I think the first one might have been a Bowie album that I actually bought myself. Yeah, it might have been Bowie. I also was into jazz at the time, so I'm not really sure.
Big Brother and the Holding Company, like that.
Sorry?
Big Brother and the Holding Company and that record.
No, I mean my older brother. He had a lot of cool records,
Oh, I
so
thought you said Janice.
No.
so he was spinning a lot of stuff, and I had a lot of access to music.
Yeah.
So eventually, you have to get your own stuff. So I kind of got into that. But
Cool.
yeah.
That I bought myself. Who knows? There used to be a.
Only you know.
Yeah, there used to be a music store on, this is 2600 block. And there used to be, like record stores were really weird back then, especially around here. There used to be a radio, like what do you call, like a hand radio shop.
Oh, those are cool.
Yeah, hand radio shop with TV, they also repaired TVs and stuff.
Oh.
Oh yeah, it was really interesting. This guy was right into heavy duty electronics. But they had a whole section.
Would have been your guy, Andy.
Yeah.
He had that going on. Had a big huge tower on the roof too. I don't know what was coming out of that. But anyways, he had a big section area where it was full of records, right? LPs, right? So I would go in there and start looking through the records, right? You know, back then when you're young, like I was young, so I would look at the covers because the covers were so great back then, right? You know, so I think my first album that I actually bought was The Cream. I bought Disraeli Years.
Dude.
Yeah, I think that was my first one. I think because before that I started off on 45s because my mom had a nightclub downtown Vancouver. They used to own a couple of nightclubs, and the jukebox guy would come in.
Oh, that's a bit of history.
Yeah, and
this
his
guy.
name was Gordy. I forget his name. Gordy Western or something like that. And he was a really nice man. And I would go down there, and he'd take instead of like throwing the old 45s out, he'd give them to me.
Nice.
So I had all these old 45s, all the way from like, Louis Armstrong
Yeah,
to
right.
like, the Beatles to, like everybody. Like,
Oh, that
and
old like Duke Ellington stuff. Or
everything.
Yeah.
You can think of anything in the 60s, right? Just tons
Sure.
of stuff from the 60s and 70s,
Yeah.
right? And so I was playing all those 45s in the beginning, right? And then I, like I said, I went to that store over here. I actually, in this building here, I bought, because I lived the next block up on 2600 block. On the third floor was where the record store was. There was a furniture store.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Rob
You
got
live on
that
the
together, yeah.
You live on the record store floor.
That's where I bought. And I remember one time,
That's
I'll tell
awesome.
this story really quick. My cousin Brian and Brian was working at a restaurant down in Gastown that his dad owned and managed called the Meat Market Restaurant. It was like a steak place, right? Back then steak places were really good. So we went down there, Brian was picking up his check. He says, let's pick up the check and, I'll buy you something to eat and, we go for a couple of beer, whatever, right? We're young teenagers. So we go down there and we get she gets the check and, his Uncle Ron, cooks us a couple steaks and we eat some steaks. And then, Brian walks out, we're walking out the door, just before we walk in, he goes, look, he said, I got 2 joints, I took them from my dad's, desk, right? Uncle Ron, right? And Uncle Ron was kind of hip type guy, for that time period. And Uncle Ron walks up to us and he goes, okay, I can talk to you too. He goes, you took 2 of my joints in the banana and strawberry yellow flavors, right? And I said, yeah, that's how the papers were back then. And I said, I didn't say it, I just went, Brian was, yeah, I took them, Joe didn't do it. Anyway, he He says, the next time you want something, just ask, I'll give it to you guys.
Yeah,
No
nice.
problem. So anyways, long story short, we smoked the 2 joints and walked all the way back up here from Gastown to here. You know, back then, streets weren't that, you could
Yeah.
walk.
Oh, yeah, for
You
sure,
could,
of
you know, you
course.
could, that was still a scuzzy neighborhood, just starting to go down a bit. But you could walk as a kid, and it was summertime. We walked, we came into fields. I went upstairs and I went to the 45s because I didn't have enough money for an album. So I picked out Up Around the Bend,
Oh,
CCR,
yeah, that's cool.
and on the flip side, B side was Run Through the Jungle. And then I picked Guess Who, American Woman was the A side, and the B side was No Sugar Tonight.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Then we walked all the way to Ninth Street, that's where Brian lived, all the way up to West 49, just before the
Yeah,
bridge.
there's a way.
That's a long one. We're so ripped.
Yeah, you walk for miles and
we
miles.
didn't care, right? You know, got to his place, had something more to eat, you know, and went and played the 45s, right? So yeah,
But the one thing from what you're recounting was all about the music,
yeah.
and I think that's what we're missing today is all about the music.
Oh yeah.
Like there's I mean, God, in so many areas.
That's a funny thing, man. That's a funny thing that you say that because we love it, right? Clearly, we all love it, and then like what's the next one down? Millennial. It's way different for them, but then you go before that, like my kids, like my son plays bass, my girlfriend Bonnie, hi Bonnie, and her son Travis is in a band. All his buddies are in a band. All my son's buddies are in a band. Like it skipped a generation, but they don't buy records.
Well, that's what's interesting. Like there's a new gen coming up. The kids, they are buying records.
They are.
Oh,
yeah.
okay, there you go.
And the
They
reason
are, yeah.
the reason why is twofold. One, some of them just buy it to collect it and keep it as an artifact on a wall
Yep.
because it's a cool thing, and I think that's awesome because the artwork is what
They
we're
are
missing.
super cool.
But there's a whole other batch of young people who just want to hear music a different way. When you stream something, it becomes acoustic wallpaper.
Yeah, right.
You turn it on, you can chop a salad, you can do whatever you want, right? But when you put a record on, you got to flip that fucker.
Yeah.
You can't basically walk away and just go off and
Yeah.
leave your streaming playing, right?
Rob and I were talking about that. Where he was saying, him particularly, because he's ridiculous, but he's music obsessive too, like we all are, clearly. And that's what he was saying. He's like, oh, and the newest thing, and the newest thing, and the newest thing. And then I hear something and I go, oh, I like that 10 years ago, and listen to it one time or whatever. But when we were kids, like, get that Cream record or whatever it was, and flip it,
Yep.
and flip it, and flip it, and just, and that is just so in you, like the cover is so in your mind. All right, anyway, before we get back to your stuff, I'll tell you all what it was. I wanted to get a Kiss record, super bad. My mom said no, I had to get a real record first. So I bought Sean Cassidy, Da Do Ron Ron, to try and impress Diana Polsky.
Oh, I feel for you.
Thanks. That was grade 2. Did not impress her. I hope you married a jerk, Diana Polsky. But then I got a Kiss record, so.
You know who I watched last night on YouTube for a few minutes? Talk about artists back then. He had huge hits with Tommy James and the Shondells.
Oh, yeah.
And he came out. Yeah, he came out and he did. No, the band was hot, and he was really good for. It was like this show was about 2 weeks ago. It was in Buffalo.
Wow.
Oh, like currently playing.
And yeah, they showed like 2 cuts and did that song "Holding the Line." Holding the line. He opened up with that one. Then he did Crystal Blues Persuasion.
Oh, yeah.
I only saw the 2, but like I was like the band was really good. He sang really good, played really well. And there was a mixture of people in the crowd, like you're saying, there was young kids and older people, and it was the songs. It was the songs. You know, I mean, I didn't like everything he ever did, but he had like 15, 21 number, you know, like hits. He had huge hits.
For
you know?
sure. The thing is, like, if you go back, back in that period, I guess it was mainly like the 60s, artists were, they weren't manufactured at all, but what they were was, their image was shaped.
Yeah,
So you look at a
sure.
guy like Glenn Campbell, right? And you have an image of a guy singing nice songs. The guy's a freaking monster guitar player.
Great.
He was a freaking epic
I opened up for him.
session guy, you know. So he really, wow, that's really cool.
I met him at
But we only see one side of him though, right?
Yeah, that's
We
right.
don't see the monster player side.
Yeah.
And it's like the same thing with Paige. He was a session guy, right? Like you don't come out of nowhere and play like that, right?
No.
And people, oh, just a rock band in the garage. No, it wasn't, man. These guys were fucking honed, man.
Yeah.
By the time they were doing this shit, they were like epic players.
Yeah.
And this is what kids gotta understand these. It's like right now we're into fabricating bands, right? Fabrication.
sure.
You get a bunch of people and you make it happen. Kind of like the Monkees actually back in the day, right?
Yeah,
It's
right.
fabricated.
Yeah.
But there was another way to do it, where you get really good players, put them together, or they put themselves together, and you get incredible music.
Fucking
Yeah.
Steely Dan, man.
Yep.
Yeah.
Most of that's great.
Or all that kind
I mean,
of
a lot of that is
70s soft rock.
Steely Dan is like really played a lot now. Even the kids like Steely
Yeah.
Dan.
Well, but the people are because we have so much information right now. I mean, in this thing here, you got like
Oh
basically
my
all
God.
human history, right?
Yeah.
And all we're watching for the most part is cats and porn.
Yeah.
Gotta remember that. Man.
Yeah.
You gotta get into what this thing can give you, right?
Yeah.
This thing can teach you how. Like I call this like I taught two universities and a bunch of other stuff. And kids ask me now, what should I study? And I tell every single kid, YouTube University, because what happens is if you go to a conventional institution. Don't get me wrong, I have a university degree and I think it's great. But if you're in this industry, sound and music and tech, by the time you graduate, everything you've learned is 3 years out of date.
Yeah, right.
And it's like you're working with
Yeah.
software, like I work with Logic, update comes, man, you gotta be on it. It's
Yeah.
not like I'm gonna go study. No, you gotta get on it right now, tonight.
Yeah.
Because if you wanna keep going and get all the latest updates, you can't have that attitude where somebody is gonna do it for me. You gotta do it for yourself. And kids are doing it. Like some of the shit coming up, man. I'm telling you, some of the new music is like insane.
Yeah.
I went to school to be a sound engineer at Columbia Academy. My future began that day. And anyway, I don't even know if they exist anymore. But the day I was finished graduating, fucking Moby put out that album Play that he recorded in his bedroom. And it was fucked. That day!
Yeah.
Isn't that ironic, Alanis?
Yeah, but there's many ways to get there. The whole thing with that is it doesn't really matter how you get there, but I would just say for kids these days, like look, if you can go to a great school and get more than just the music, like when I was in university, I made sure like I just took Fortran for shits and giggles. I'm the worst programmer in the world. I'm literally the worst programmer in the world, but I got through it. And right now, today, it helped me get my programming done for my internship.
Yeah, yes,
Because if
yes.
I hadn't done that, I'd be completely lost. And so,
Sure.
all these weird peripheral things you can study at university, that's the goal.
Yes.
Not the program itself.
Right.
So when you're there, like I was studying, like for instance, at Concordia, I was studying, music and stuff. But the course to this day, I studied with Dr. Kevin Austin, was electroacoustic music.
Interesting.
And he taught critical listening in the course. He taught all this kind of stuff. And it was basically, we were doing tape loops, we were doing modular synthesis, we were doing all this shit back in like the 80s, right?
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, you're not going to get that anywhere else.
No.
So if you can get into a university that has like somebody there who's like, Dr. Kevin Austin, you'll walk away with a better knowledge than spending, $300,000 doing Full Sail in the States, right?
Yeah.
Because what they're going to show you is the dream. They're not going to show you the reality. And the reality right now is you buy a Mac M4, the new Mac Mini, and basically I use Logic, whatever your flavor is. You get that, you put it together, you get a good interface with a good microphone, and if you can't make something amazing, stop.
Oh, yeah.
You will never produce shit, because if the Beatles had that, they would have basically, their minds would have exploded and fucking sparklers would have come out.
Oh, yeah.
So the whole thing is right now, we're in a golden age of recording. We have every possibility to make good stuff. Like this album right here. I mean, the music people might hate it,
Yeah.
whatever. I did this whole thing with my buddy on a Mac Mini.
Yeah, you told me. Yeah.
And I have big computers too. I just upgraded to the latest thing, and I got the stock Mac Mini. I'm running the plugins I need, the tracks I need.
Yes.
And he recorded all the drums on his Android phone.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow, yeah.
And he sent them over to me, and it was kind of like, kept it like a jam, so my rule was I have to do every song in a day. He sends me a track, I listen, I play it, maybe add an overdub, and it had to be done in one day.
Yeah.
And that was the exercise. It's an exercise in discipline. And again, if you think it sucks, I don't care.
No. Yeah.
But the whole thing was, the idea was,
If I may, if you think it sucks, you suck.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean, because when I go and record, I don't know if you know, I heard a guy, my producer I work with, he uses a lot a lot of software stuff.
Oh, Bill?
Bill,
Yeah.
Bill Buckingham, and Bill is great. He's super fast. I mean, Bill's like you're playing the song, and he's already mixing it.
Yeah.
He's already hearing everything he wants to
Yeah.
hear and more. And Bill is like talking about discipline. Like, you know, we do a song and we get the beds and the guitars done in a day. We do the vocals in one day, and then we do the any overdubs or anything the third day, and then he goes and he mixes, right? He masters, and it's like I go in there and there's times when you go in there and it's like, okay, Joe, this whole verse here that you sing, I changed the lyrics. Fucking shit. Like, you know, now I've got, not only have I got to like put my balls into the whole fucking song, I got to get the lyrics right too, you know?
Yeah.
And it's, so he does that on purpose. He does that to you know,
Yep.
get the real organic, you know, thing out of me where I'm actually really have to be in the moment and on the spot, right? You know, to produce, right? You know.
Well, the thing is, we're looking at an era where like Suno and all the AI generated garbage right
Oh
now.
yeah, that's
It's people. I mean, the thing is, it's very impressive. Like, I mean, I've never used it, but I'm sure it's very impressive to go, I'd like a song in the style of, well, great.
Yeah.
But people, like, we have a visceral ability to sense that stuff and go, ugh. We do.
Yeah.
And that's why you get bands like Engine de Poitrine kind of going, you know, ballistic, because it's like kind of like, I mean, do I like their microtonal music? It's cool, I think it's fantastic, but I wouldn't buy their album, but I'm still happy they exist.
Yeah.
Because they're the antithesis to Suno, right?
Yeah.
And you need that. You need basically contrast to mediocrity, and that's
Yeah.
what it is. Like AI can only, because basically it scrapes the internet and tries to produce stuff that's like something else. It's not something else.
No, that's right. It's like a cover band.
Yeah. So the whole thing
That's what it is.
and some of it is very convincing. It's like, oh wow, it sounds like, you know, a string section, but it's not, and your brain picks up on that.
Yeah.
And that's the problem.
Well, that's what used to happen in the bar days. Like, I used to play in Vancouver,
Yeah.
and you know, one of my guitar players and me were talking about that. Like you know, back in the day, I must have got fired out of 1,000 cover bands, not because I wasn't good enough. It's that I wouldn't cover the song. I would sing it the way I felt it, because the people that I watched and grew up with we used to go to, when I, like I said, lived in the neighborhood. So like, you know, I used to go to concerts for like, you know, $5. Go see,
Oh, yeah.
you know, go and see the Cream or Janis Joplin for $5, right? And then go and watch the Cream or Janis Joplin or Led Zeppelin. They would never do the same,
No.
sound like the record at all.
No.
What they did live was totally different from what they did on the record.
Absolutely.
And it did not matter, or the Doors or anything. And then once I was at a Led Zeppelin concert, and this was, I've seen like 4 times. I saw, this was like, this was a House of the Holy, this is by the third time. This was House of the Holies and 4. And I'm sitting there watching, and some guy beside me goes, you know, they're not playing it like the record. And I looked at the guy and I says, and Robert Plant doesn't sound like the record. I says, they've dropped it down to a drop D. You know, I says, because he doesn't want to burn out for the whole tour. And I says, it still sounds good. It's still Robert Plant. And the song is still being played live. And yes, they don't play everything exactly like the record. But if this idiot would have grown up in the days like when we were younger and listened to jazz players or blues players, they never play the same thing twice.
And but the variety is coming back. And like, if you look at, again, you know, young artists putting stuff out, there's an energy there that wasn't there maybe 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And like I was talking about that crazy cartridge I'm reviewing. One of the albums I mentioned, Sudan Archives, and the album is BPM. And dear God, I mean, the production on that thing is like, it's all electronic, but man, it's got balls the size of fucking cantaloupes. Man.
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of like they're pushing the shit right into distortion and getting it. So the whole thing is, it's kind of like, you can't just excuse, oh, it's electronics, it's got no soul. The problem, dude, you got no soul, man. Don't blame the gear.
Yeah.
Don't blame the gear, man. Like, if you're producing it, fucking push it till it squawks, right?
Yeah.
And then it's gonna work. I mean, have you seen guys like
A poor carpenter blames his hammer, for sure.
are you guys into like tech, like preamp tech and all that kind of stuff?
I know of it.
Well, there's a really interesting video from this guy Jim Lill from he's a
A
really
lot
good
of these
guitarist.
people are.
Yeah, he's a really brilliant guitarist, and he's a very smart young man. But the thing is, he fixated on one aspect of, he took a Focusrite Scarlett and I took a Neve preamp, and basically his whole premise was they sound the same. And you could skew any test, like I could skew anything to make anything sound like anything. And the sad thing about it was, it makes a lot of people think that, you know, with my Scarlett, I'm going to sound exactly the same as a Neve preamp, right?
Yeah.
The problem was he wasn't using a 1073 with saturates. He was using one of the newer ones, which are clean. So the test he was doing, he wasn't lying, but the poor dude was completely misdirected in the wrong direction.
Yeah.
I mean, ultimately, he's trying to tell people, like, he is saying don't blame the gear, but at the same time, he's not representing factually what the gear can do.
Yeah, yeah.
So we're in an era of soup right now, like a bit of soup and nuts, and we got to kind of like get things kind of clear.
Yeah.
Like when I used to mix at the Orpheum Theater, we had a 10-channel Neve console for a few years with 1073 modules, and the thing was epic. I mixed lunch shows on it, and it was beautiful. And it's an organic thing.
Orpheum's a beautiful place.
Oh yeah, before they did the remodel that destroyed it.
Yes, I remember that. I was there before the remodel.
Funny thing is,
I sang there
they
once.
always hired guys from Toronto or New York to come in to fuck up their theaters. Never hired them to do locally. That's a long. That's a whole debate for another.
I sang in there
Yeah.
once. And
It was beautiful.
you know what? Wow, the acoustics in there were just bloody amazing.
And you know we had for the PA, there was like a multi-cell horn array in the center,
Yeah.
and we used to use two Altic A7s.
Yeah.
That was it. Because
Yeah.
you didn't have to push through them. You could
Yeah.
just slightly bring it up.
Yeah.
And it would work from, I mean, not for rock shit, but like for
Still,
most shows.
even in the rock shit, it didn't matter. It did. You know what I'm trying to
probably
say?
did, yeah.
It was. You could hear everything.
Yeah,
And you could hear a pin drop on that stage. It kind of reminded me. I played once also. The only other time I had anything that was close to that, I played at the what do you call it? In LA, I played at the. Was it the Hard Rock in Los Angeles?
Nice.
And the system there was it was just the beginning of all the computer stuff, the Apple and all that. And the guy was just like he already knew what he was doing. And he walked up and go, "What do you need, Joe? I need this on my monitor, that." Boom, boom, boom. I was like, "Oh wow, yeah, thanks." You know, drums. How about this, this, and this? Yeah. What else you need? Oh, boom, boom, boom. Play a bit. Boom, boom, boom. How's that? Everybody's going, "Holy shit." Like, he just dialed everything in, because he already knew. He says, "I know the system." Huge place, it's like 1,700 seater. And he just knew when we just went, the system was so well adapted to the room.
Nice.
And, you know, he just wired everything in. It was really easy. You could hear everything. You didn't have to play it loud. We didn't have to, because you could eat people eating, drinking. They made it sound like it was just really loud, but it wasn't.
It's a weird phenomenon, like what I found, because I did a fair bunch of work in the States too, but in Vancouver, it was always for the powers that be, oh, they're from Vancouver, they can't be any good.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know if you guys have faced that too.
Oh, yeah.
But it's kind of like, okay, I'm not good here, but I'm good enough to work at some of the largest venues in the States. So
Yeah.
you
It's
guys,
like film too, man.
yeah,
But now the crews are, now people know that
It's
worldwide
changing,
that
it's
they're
changing.
killer.
Yeah.
Did you work on, by chance, you or your wife work on The Overcoat?
no, we didn't work on that one, no. Yeah, that was a good production.
Oh, it's wicked.
But yeah, it's an interesting phenomenon, and,
Yeah.
and I think the thing is sort of like what Vancouverites have to kind of take pride in is their own ability and to filter who's good, who's not.
Yeah, and then the new venue here, they messed up.
Really, I didn't.
Two of my friends are the sound managers there, and they've been doing sound forever. Like, they did like the Commodore for 10 years. There's one friend of mine, 10, 15 years at the River Rock. So he's pretty good. And I went to the show. I went to the Motley Crue show.
Not Mike Kidder, is it?
It might be Mike, yeah.
I know Mike.
Yeah,
I worked together. Yeah, that's a good guy.
Yeah, so we went.
He's an awesome guy.
He is a very nice guy.
Yeah, he is.
And I went and I said, okay, I said, Motley Crue, not a huge fan, but I'm okay with them, I like them. I says, I want to also see what this place can do.
Yeah.
He says, well, you're not going to be happy. And I says, why?
How can you screw up today? The systems
Well,
are-
he said they rushed it, and it's all full of cement. And if you're in the pit, it sounds great. It sounds great in the floor,
Yeah, I get
it.
in the pit. Then you start getting up into the seats.
Where you pay
Yeah.
more, right?
Yeah, you pay more,
Yeah.
and it's bouncing off the wall. And where I was right behind the board, Andy, you know, and second seat behind the board. That's how we saw each other. And it was the bottom end was like, and I'm going like,
Yeah.
I got up and I just went,
Well, this is.
I gotta get out of
You
here.
brought up a huge thing, and this is not just live venues. It's in your home, in shows, in festivals. Is acoustic treatment. Nobody is addressing that.
No,
And it's kind of like that was like the basic thing is you can walk into a room with some very basic gear. If the room sounds good, you can have a good show.
yeah,
If the room isn't treated or handled in some way,
Yeah.
it's going to sound like you said, it's just a huge bottled mess.
Like
Hot
the Chan
moment.
Center sounds awesome.
oh, Chance Center.
It does now. It does now.
Does now,
Oh,
did in the
different.
beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah, it did in the beginning.
Oh man, I got a story for you on that one. I did a gig there very soon after it opened, and it was fucking horrible.
Yeah,
Because the company that had done it had put, like the center cluster was like 600 feet in the air.
right,
The gain structure was so messed up. It was like, I told the guy literally, I said, isn't the ocean supposed to be down the street? All I'm hearing is fucking in the room, right?
Right.
And it's good now though, don't get me wrong.
It's
And one of the young guys that went in there and fixed it up was really talented. I can't remember his name offhand, but he's a wicked sound tech. But back then what happened was the company again was these guys out of New York. And I had the displeasure of working with that guy on a different show. And like we're at breakfast, and I said, yeah, I worked at the Chan Center. He goes, oh, it was all like a puppy. How did it sound? And I said, literally, I said, I think it's the biggest abomination of a sound install I've ever seen in my life. And he goes, oh, our company did that. And I said, sorry, dude, I'm really sorry for you. I'm not gonna fucking apologize.
Yeah.
You come to my fucking town.
Yeah.
Instead of us being hired, you fucking wreck the venue,
Yeah.
turn it into shit.
Right.
But the thing is, the company of Toronto did a pretty good job. They came with the Meyer system and had proper
Yeah.
angles. I mean, the thing is, this isn't rocket science.
no,
If you have a speaker that's fucking the height of Empire State Building trying to do your center cluster, it ain't gonna work.
No.
I don't need to school you on this. You don't need physics. You don't need mathematics, right?
yeah.
But it's kind of like these guys have the balls to come in here to somebody else's town and hovering on that I'm from New York thing, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, dude, you suck. You suck
Yeah.
bad. But the thing is, problem is, a lot of Vancouverites are very polite people. I'm from Montreal, that's why I'm such an asshole. And I'll fucking call anybody out.
You're
Right?
an Easterner. He's from Ontario.
It's like, I'll call anybody out to
Falls.
their fucking face,
Yeah.
right? And it's kind of like, dude, man, look, I suck too some days, but own
Yeah.
it, right?
Yeah, no, I talked to the guys, and they said to me that in the fall they're going to sit down with the B&E. They said you're going to have to fix this
Yeah,
stuff
I
because
did.
they said the acts are not going to come.
No.
The acts are going to stop coming to the room and
Yeah.
to the venue. And he says it's a beautiful. I mean,
It's
technically,
beautiful.
it is beautiful inside too. It is very nice. It's laid out really well.
Yeah.
But it's not done, they did nothing for the sound.
Yeah.
And he says, I said, what do you think is gonna happen? He says, well, we're gonna have to come in with baffles and all kinds of stuff and see, I don't know what we're gonna do, but we're gonna sit down with them. And he says, they said they rushed it for
How'd they fix
FIFA,
the
they rushed it
Chan
for FIFA.
Well, what they did was they brought in a proper, like a sound system. The problem with the previous one, it wasn't very focused. It was like a basic, like a splatter machine gun. With the Myers, you can tune where you're hitting in a room.
Yes.
So you're able to do that. And the guy even confessed to me, the guy who designed it, that when I did the first gigs, yeah, and so basically when I went the first gig, why am I hearing fucking like 100 to 200 hertz booming like a motherfucker?
Yeah,
And he goes,
yeah.
oh yeah, we never finished the fucking bass trap. Thanks, bro.
Wow.
So yeah, it's basically that when you actually start pushing people for stuff, you get a lot of information.
Yeah, sure.
And so essentially they've done the gig, fucked it royally, and basically walked away and it's like got their paycheck.
Yeah, and a lot of people at these
Well,
shows.
by the time I saw Joe Jackson, mwah, chef's kiss.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, no. After
I-
they redid it, now with the new system was like, and again, like I said, one of the local guys with the kids mixing. I wish I could remember his name. He was so good. Like he put in front fills and did everything you got to do to get the image down and the whole thing to make it sound like it's working.
The
Right.
kids coming out of SAE right now are good. Or at Sound.
Yeah.
The-
Well, they're gonna have to do something.
That girl that you.
Oh, I got that girl who does sound for us. She's really good, Trinity.
Yeah.
She's very how can I use the word? She's young. She's only 20 years old, but she is really very technical.
Good.
She's very technical. She listens. She pays attention. Hey, right down to the goddamn. Bitches at me, right down to the mic cable. You didn't wrap the mic cable properly, and she's right.
Don't bust the shielding, man.
She's all over everything, right? So I said one day I looked at her, I go, you scare me.
She's good.
She'd start laughing. I said, no, you scare me.
Now, this
Because
is-
all of a sudden I wrapped the cable properly because of you.
There are some great kids. I've worked with like over the years, some young people coming up in like theater techs and stuff. They're brilliant, absolutely fucking brilliant.
Yeah.
They got huge potential, but they need a little bit of like experience in bigger productions and just to get some of the ways we do stuff
Yes.
down, right?
Yeah.
They need to be exposed to it, and they have all the skills. There's no the
Yeah.
future is bright. I mean, but again, we need people who are mentors to them to show them how to do stuff.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's missing. And the problem, like you mentioned, like the venue, I haven't checked it out, but what I've seen in the past is they farmed it out to somebody who goes, yeah, we got all this CV, look at this, you know. And then you walk in, and it's kind of like, what the fuck, you know?
Well, the techs were just like, going like, wow, we got
Yeah.
problems here.
But you know, it's not easy. Like when we did the refit of the up at Capilano, the PA we put in there for the theater department, there was another guy involved, but I mean, you know, I did most of the heavy lifting, and we had all the techs come in, and they were starting to get a point. I said, look, guys, I'm the designer, and I don't give a shit what any of you think. And they were all like, fuck you, Andy, right? So opening night, we had the fucking system at 117 dB at the console. You could have a conversation, and they were all like, "Oh yeah, it's so good." Well, why the fuck didn't you support me from day one?
Yeah.
And that's the problem we're having here. You don't get the support.
Well, yeah, I would imagine they probably didn't get the support and had much to say themselves, and vice versa, both ways.
Right.
Because well, it's a.
But they resent you if you step up and go, "I'm going to take care of it." They resent you.
Yes.
And that's
Well, but here's the thing. Well, sorry, I'm being honest, guys. The crew, like when I went there, you know, they told me. They said like, yeah, you know, there's problems, Joe. And then I says, yeah, because you know, I'm sitting right behind you, and it sounds like shit. And I'm trying. So I got up and I says, I'm walking around different areas, watching the show, but trying to get the best sound that I can get out of this thing.
Yeah.
I had to go to the side to get something where one of the side fills are to hear anything that sounded clear enough. And when I told him, I told him that, he says, well, you know, it's not totally bad. There's somebody, and I go, look, I says,
The whole
It's not
crowd's
totally
just
bad.
gonna go stand over
well,
here.
no,
But you know what-
here's the thing. I know technically they're probably I know technically they're probably way better than me at like doing sound. Like I'm a musician.
I got to drink beer on that one.
Yeah, I'm a musician, and you know, just a musician and singer and songwriter type band.
You're just the guy making the art, right?
Yeah, I'm the guy making the art.
Kind of
but
important.
but the trick is I've done
It's
enough
not
of
part
it.
of it,
I played in enough venues
Yeah.
that I can tell when it
Of
sounds
course.
good or not, and I can tell if I'm going to struggle. Because when I go up, like you know, done shows, like I said this to the girl in my band who sings with me. Emily goes, well, I can't hear anything. I says, stop relying on the monitors if you can't hear anything. Rely on the fucking mains. I says, lean out, act like you're posing, and listen to the mains, and
Good,
they'll
yeah.
tell you the truth
Yeah.
where everything
That's
is.
good advice.
And I
That's
says,
very good
because I
advice,
says, those things, they're either going to be really good or they're going to suck.
Yeah.
And I says, and that's the monitor guy.
Yeah.
And either he knows what the fuck he's doing or he doesn't know a damn thing.
Very,
right?
very true, very true. Yeah, but it's a tough one like that. I'm really, because I just stayed away from all of it because I saw it going up, and my wife was, why don't you get in touch with them? And she, like the politics of that is like, it's all connections. And I benefited from that too.
Yeah.
From having those connections and working with people. So whoever the structure is, whoever you're aligned with is the person who's going to get the gig.
Yes.
And sometimes it's fantastic.
Yeah.
And sometimes
Yeah,
it's
it's
not,
so
right?
true.
So the whole thing there is there's no way they get in at inception and go, I'm going to fix it all for you. They're going to go, piss off, right?
Yeah.
It's just the way it's
Yeah,
going.
I mean, I agree with you. I think that they, like somebody said to me, well, how could they screw that up? I says, you know what? They're screwing it up in order to fix it, get it right. I says they're going to take a while to get it right.
Yeah.
I says
Looks
there's too much
beautiful,
bureaucracy down there. Well, there's too much bureaucracy. It's a city thing.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
a government
Yeah.
thing. It's
Yeah.
not going to correct itself overnight.
Well, you know what's different in Canada? Like in the States, the thing what's different is like when you get hired for a project, they let you either succeed or hang yourself.
Yes.
There's no babysitting, there's
No.
no hand holding.
No.
Like we did the refit for the Excel Center in, we started in 22 into 23, last touches were in 24. It was a $4.5 million project
Where's that?
in St. Paul, Minnesota. This is where the Wild play, Minnesota Wild.
Yeah, the hockey team
They
plays, yeah.
rebrand the arena.
Yeah.
So we were the second in line for the Meyer Panther system. We get 96 Panther cabinets right behind Metallica. They
Wow.
were ahead of us for the orders.
Yeah.
And each cabinet is $25,000. Okay? So the thing is, when you're dealing with that level of
How
stuff,
many cabs?
96. And that wasn't the whole system. We had another system that fires down on the ice for the players for warm up, right? So the whole thing is when you're dealing with that, what happens, we were basically in charge of production. Me and Jim were the production managers for the whole project. But we also did some programming. I programmed the board and stuff to get it all to work. But you have when you're working with Sound Associates out of New York, they happen to know this guy called Bob McCarthy who wrote the fucking book on sound, right?
Sure.
So Bob did all the fucking beaming program stuff. So basically he did all the alignment for the speakers,
Right.
where we need to do, and you turn it on and it works. That's what happens, it works.
Yeah.
Like we all put our input, like he wanted to do some stuff I didn't agree with. I said, no, we're not gonna put the fucking subs in the bleachers, we're gonna put them in the tunnels, and they went ahead with it. So
That's cool.
They leave you input, right?
Yeah,
smart.
So the whole thing is, but you gotta know when to push. Like when you have someone, let them do the work. Like when you're dealing with riggers, right? We had one of the best riggers in New York doing all the rigging. Let the guy do the fucking work.
Yes.
Don't get in his way, because he knows exactly what he's doing. It's a huge liability thing. Let him work.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if you're the person in charge, they will respect you.
Yes.
So you can actually go talk to somebody like Bob McCarthy, who is known as a god in audio, and go, hey Bob, I don't think so.
Yeah.
And he'll work with you.
Yeah.
Over here, they're gonna go you're gonna have 45 guys arguing with you, offering you solutions.
Yeah.
Where I don't give a shit what you think.
Yeah.
So that's the difference, and we gotta get back to that where if you hire professionals, let them do their work. It's like
That's a good point. That's like, if I'm cutting your kid's hair, Mom, just go sit. Listen to the tunes,
exactly.
man.
That's
I've
why
got
you're
it.
here. You're
I've
here
got
because
it.
you do your job.
Ooh, I'm good, man.
What a concept. No, but we got to get back to that. It's like, let the people do what they do. Right?
Yes.
And if they suck, fire their ass and don't hire them again.
Yeah.
And it's like, you got to put yourself and again, I love that attitude. It's like, I was working with a guy on a project, and he ended up, he's a brilliant sound designer himself. He worked with John Shivers in New York, and he got actually a Tony Award. And we'd worked together earlier. I never got a Tony Award, sadly. But
Loser.
Anyway, so yeah, it's like, so we're talking about stuff, and this was in 2005, okay? And I said, we're gonna use live plugins for the show. So I was using Waves plugins, UAD plugins in 2005, right?
Cool.
And everybody was fucking shitting their pants. He goes, okay, Andy, I'm gonna follow you off that cliff.
There you go.
But there's a
That's
difference.
the shit,
But
though.
there's a difference. We did it. Somebody can stop the project.
Yes.
And the production manager, Andy Luft, who's a freaking awesome guy and a great friend, goes, okay, do it. Because it's that's how you push it forward, right?
Yeah.
You're right at the fucking edge. It's one thing goes down, you're fucking splattered, right?
I got a really cool experience. I went to, I don't know if you heard that band called Ghost, right?
Yes.
Yeah, they're great. They're just fucking brilliant live. And I went to the last Ghost show, and I've seen them twice. I went to this last one, and my seat was really close to the board and everything, and all the gear and all the fucking shit they had. And so I'm standing, and everybody's standing, and I'm bopping, and I'm watching, I'm having a good time. And then all of a sudden, the management comes out, they were behind watching everything. And so one guy walks by and goes, "Who are you?" And I says, "I'm just a fan, no big deal." He goes, "You want to come behind to check out what we're doing?" I see you kind of watching the boards.
Nice.
So I went back there and I sat back, and the sound guy goes, "Hey, watch this." It goes the sound, but I'm going, "Holy fuck!" And they were doing he was fucking so into it. You hear guys bopping, and you can see he would go like this, the singer would. You could tell he was, maybe not going to hit that note the way he usually does. And so he brings the girls up just a little bit, brings him down just a smidge, right? So it blends really well.
Wow.
And I'm watching, but holy fuck, that was a cool trick. And I mean, I've heard that stuff, but I've never seen how he did it, the movements, the moves he was making on the board, right? It's like the old days, with the boards where you make the moves,
It's funny you
right?
mention that, because
When you're mixing.
when you're doing theater stuff, it's a really hard time in Vancouver, because nobody here is trained how to do theater mixing. But when you're doing theater mixing,
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
what you
That's a lot
have
different.
basically is you're working with a bunch of VCAs, and you usually have a bank of 8, and you assign per scene performance to that.
Yeah.
So the way it works is every line. How are you doing? I'm doing good. I saw the dog. Hey, that's really good. There's a pickup. Every single line is a fader throw.
Oh, wow, okay.
Right? And so when you get people here, they shit their pants. It's but I don't blame them, because they've never been trained to do that.
Do that,
And it's I was doing one show, and the mixer, we finished a song, And I go to the mixer, so when are you turning the band down? So you hear all the rumble, right? It's like when the band finishes, you bring down the orchestra. Not a clue.
Yeah.
Not a fucking clue. But again, I didn't go apoplectic on the person because I saw like, you have no idea how bad you are.
Yeah.
You know,
So
you can't unload on somebody because they've never been trained to.
Yes.
But the problem is we don't have, again, this is where we get into the whole idea of mentorship and showing people how it's done. Like when I was teaching my kids, every time we did mix a show, I would show them how to do pickups. Right? So it's clean. So what happens is, in the simplest terms, you got two people talking, both mics are up, you get phasing. It just sounds like a swirl.
Yes.
So you can't. You have to have, I'm doing good too. Or if you're really not sure, at least go down to halfway.
Right.
So you get into some of the phasing, right?
Right.
But you gotta throw faders. you
Yes.
know, And there's been no training for that part.
Bet not.
You
Yeah.
know, so like, I mean, a couple of the kids that I work with, they know how to do it and they're doing really good, but it's a weird skill that, again, it's like, we don't, like, if you don't, again, you can't unload on somebody if they don't know what they're supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're just beating up puppies.
It felt
Yeah,
like
it's
that.
not-
It felt like that the other night at the when I went to that show. The guy, John Five, was an excellent guitar player.
Oh, yeah.
His solos were buried
Yeah.
in the fucking, and it
But
was
it's the ear, right? It's
yeah,
the ear.
yeah. Like he go turn the fucking thing up only like halfway through his solo.
Yeah.
I'm going like, fuck, that's so bad. Like you should know where the solo is.
Should know the song, man.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, but you know,
yeah.
but again, that's like my buddy. I was thinking my buddy Jim, who passed away as my partner on that project, right?
Yeah.
He told me the classic story. He goes to a concert, right, and you can't hear the vocalist. He looks at the sound guy, and he's working on some Waves plugin on the bass,
Yeah.
and there's no vocals. And you're going,
What are you doing?
what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
Yeah, no shit, eh?
Yeah.
If it was a bigger, I talk about gear and stuff too. One of the biggest shows I went once down to Seattle and saw Paul McCartney in Wings.
Oh, wow.
With when he was still had his wife, and he was in the Kingdom, and holy fuck, there were stacks on the floor, every fucking. I'm serious, stacks of PA. Every fucking 10 rows on
Yeah.
the floor. Boom, boom, up and down the sides. I've never seen so much gear in all my life. And the guy doing sound did a great job.
Yep.
It was just like, I was blown away how good the sound was.
The last time I saw Metallica, I felt like they nailed it. It sounded so fucking good.
So did Guns N' Roses the last
How
time.
long ago did you see them?
It was Death Magnetic. So
Quite a few years.
8 years, 5, 7.
No,
Because the new systems, man, they're so good. Like,
they are,
it
because I
was
saw Guns N'
fucking
Roses.
killer,
I saw
man.
Guns N' Roses about what?
Yeah.
I
5
never
years
heard
ago,
anything like it.
I saw Guns N' Roses at that, and BC Place can be really weird.
Yeah.
And I went, and then I forget the name of the band, opened up for them, but they gave like, the typical crap, they gave like half the lights and half the sound, so they sound like shit, right? And then all of a sudden they come out, and it's just like, boom!
Yeah.
And they get the full gear and the full lights, and I just stood back, and I went, now listen, I went, oh, these guys
Wow.
sound really good, like really
Saw
good.
Madonna
And
in
it's
there.
60,000.
She sounded great, man.
60,000 people,
Yeah,
that's a
fucking
huge
epic,
place to
dude.
fill up. In that last show we saw the Stones, it wasn't that good sound-wise.
Yeah.
It was,
It's hit and miss. I mean, the thing with the new gear is like one of the questions I asked Bob McCarthy when we were setting up the Panthers. Why are they like sounding so clean? I kind of halfway knew the answer, but basically what happens is in the older gear, the way the horns were set for the higher frequencies,
Yes.
they had a sweet spot. And as you got to the
Yeah.
edges, it got shittier and shittier. So all these things still bounce off things, but on the newer ones, they have much more coherence as you get to the edge of the horn. So even though it's still
Interesting.
slapping off stuff, it's a clean signal.
right.
So your brain understands it's coherent, right?
Yes.
There's a coherence to it,
Yeah.
and it's not all kind of smushed up into
How
a
does
ball.
how's that, like they roll off the top or something?
No, it's just the design of the horn, the way
Oh, the horn
the
itself.
horn itself.
It's
It's-
changed the design of the horn.
Yeah, so it's basically much better spread across.
Yes.
And when did that become like the
Well, it's been
Ish.
getting better and better, but the Panthers were like godlike speakers. I've never heard anything like this. And basically you can get different, focus widths, right, narrow and wide.
Okay.
So you don't have to splash all the walls.
Yeah.
Right? So basically, if you want to have a good sound, you get a narrower thing and just focus it on the area.
thing?
you
Bang
want to
right
cover.
into the crowd.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's the magic of this stuff.
That's really cool.
And these things are, they're good up to 150 dB. and they're not huge. They're like about that big by that big. They're just science fiction.
Yeah.
And the subs were like
We should get him in here.
only 25K a cab, sure.
That's what I'm saying.
They should put them over there.
I might have that.
But here's the problem,
Oh,
is
no,
that-
I don't.
Here's the problem with that over there too, that's the other thing. The noise volume, they got the thing restricted to 9.5 dB. You're only supposed to be that, like a noise bylaw. They only got up to 9 something. I forget what 9.5 or 9.7 dBs, whatever it is.
Or 90 dB.
Yeah, 90 dB.
That's pretty loud though.
No, it wasn't 90 dB. It was a little lower than that.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
That is low.
it is really low.
For a concert.
And then because the Motley Crue even actually complained. They go like, what the hell? How can we play loud? How can we rock out?
Yeah.
And they're worried about the
Well,
neighborhood.
there's ways around that. Remember you said McCarthy had all the boxes?
Yes.
What you want to do is, like, basically in a big venue, you want to have delay speakers.
Yeah.
Because, like, if you have a couple speakers that are 200 feet away, just a nonsensical number, right? They got to travel all. By the time they get you, there's nothing
That's
left.
right.
But if you have a bunch of
That's
speakers
true.
every so many feet,
Yeah.
and they have to be time delayed, right? Because
Yes.
that's really important. So the thing is, then you can have every few feet you get a nice sound. And if you only say only could do 85 dB, but he had a speaker every few feet, it'll still sound good.
That's what he was trying to.
Right.
So that's what McCartney was trying to do,
Yeah,
right?
right.
And that's why it sounded
And
so
that's what we
good.
do in theater. We have the main system, then we got
Oh,
delays,
wow.
then we got
Okay,
speakers.
it makes
Like,
total sense.
it's not just cabs up there, right?
Yeah.
And like for the vocals, for instance, they're in the center and in the front field. They're not in the sides
Right.
because you want them to image like basically like
Right.
if that's the camera where the vocals come out of the person's mouth.
Yeah.
That's where you want to hear it from.
That's
Yeah.
right.
And what we do is we have it coming out of the center cluster, out of the front fields, and then we just balance the volume till it's literally sounds like it's coming right out of there. And
Or
then
if somebody's like stage left, you can.
well, what you do is
Yeah.
you kiss it a little bit to the sides, just a touch, and then basically you just leave it alone.
Wow.
Because there are systems that will track and basically, but then you get into some really weird anomalies and stuff. So we never did that, but there are systems that will track it for you, and they will adjust the volume.
So maybe that's what they should do down there too.
Oh, they have to have delays. If they don't have delays, they're never going to win. You
Yeah.
see, but the thing is, even with treatment, like you're going to get so much slapback if you get. I mean, you need volume, right? So the way to do it is you got to have delays and acoustic treatment. It's a combination,
Yes.
and it'll work.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been done.
I mean,
many times.
they're talking, the sound guys were talking there about treatments. We're gonna have to do some.
And also, I don't know what kind of cabs they have, what dispersion they have. If it's
Yeah, I didn't get a good look at that. That's what I was gonna look at
Yeah.
next time I go there. I'm gonna go again just to see what is
But it's
there.
really interesting. Thanks for the info. I just stayed away from all that kind of stuff, but it was sort of like I was curious where it was going to end up.
Beautiful though.
Yeah, it should.
Oh, the structure's gorgeous.
The structure is gorgeous. The seating and everything is gorgeous.
Yeah.
And it's all really good. There's nothing wrong with it at
Yeah.
all, and it's all really good.
Yeah.
But like overall, yeah. Like I said, I was really disappointed because I go like, sitting right behind the board. How can it not be good right behind the board? Right of all places, where the guy is mixing, you think it's good. The two guys I know, they were both looking at me going like, yeah, there's only so much we can do, and they weren't doing sound because Motley Crue's guy was doing the sound, and they were just sitting back. They're helping them, right?
But
If he needs
to
help.
be fair to the sound tech, like if you're touring, you don't know the venue. You're hoping that the setup for it's good to go, right?
That's right.
To a degree, right?
Yeah.
Or somebody knows what you got to do to make the thing work. So
Yeah.
it's like that's why you got to have some forgiveness, right? For
Yeah.
those kind of things, because
Yeah.
if it's your house and it sounds bad,
Well, it probably was the sound man from Motley Crue because the first band was, what's his name? It was Age of Electric.
Oh yeah.
Tom Curtis band. And they were the first band. And they sounded pretty clean.
Mhm.
The mix was pretty good. A little muffled here and there, but it was a lot cleaner.
Yeah.
And then so was the second band, was not bad too. But then when Motley Crue came out, it just went all shit. Some of it was probably the sound man. He probably didn't know what the fuck he was
But this is something really interesting that, like, on a sort of, big scale, like a macro scale, but let's take it to a small scale and be playing in a bar,
Yeah.
right? And right now, one of my buddies actually does Greek music, and he's got it nailed, man. Like, I worked with him, we've done a couple of gigs a few years ago. And the problem is you go into a system, right? And again, if you have a mixer that doesn't know your music, how the hell is he gonna know the bazooki's gotta come up this morning or whatever, right? So right now we got like really cool, it started with the Behringer X32. You guys, do you know that console? The Behringer-
No, I've heard of it though.
It's basically was kind of revolutionary because it was really cheap, a lot of inputs and complete flexibility, right? So these consoles now, they came out, Behringer came out with the wing. They bought Midas, so they got good preamps and the thing sounds really, really good. So what you can do is essentially, in your rehearsal space, get all your mixes together,
Right.
and your in-ear mixes,
Wow.
all your monitors, off that little console.
Oh, yeah.
So when you go to your gig, you plug down your wing,
Yeah,
put all your inputs in,
yeah,
and you can go wired or wireless for the monitors, whatever you want.
Yes,
The show's
yes.
good to go.
yeah,
You give the front of house left and right,
Yeah.
2 wires.
yeah.
They can't fuck your mix.
Yeah, right.
They can't fuck your mix.
That's very good.
I mean, even if you have the best tech in the world, if they've EQ'd the room well, that's their room, right?
Yeah,
They've done their part, you've done your part. You're gonna have a killer show in like no time at all.
wow.
And that's the
Wow.
future, right? And this is where a lot of the young kids are getting savvy to this because it's kind of like, it's one of those things. It's really interesting. Like a lot of people my age, like you talk to them, and it's so hard to learn, and you get fucking like the fucking tales of the crypt coming out of them. And I always tell them, I go, fuck, dude, anything you know how to do, you didn't know at one point.
Yeah.
That's right, that's true.
Cool.
It doesn't matter what you do, you didn't like.
That's a teacher talking.
And it's like, you gotta learn. And it's kind of like, and if you don't want to learn, like I remember working with some of the old guys in the union back in the day, and these guys, I was, like 30s, they were probably in their 50s at that point. They don't want to learn this stuff. Fuck, you gotta pay me to do it. And it's like, okay, you're in a union, right? And you expect everything to be done for you. And I'm very pro-union. I'm not
Yeah,
anti-union.
no.
But the thing is, like, if you're a violin player, and you show up at your union gig and you open up your case and you go, now teach me how to play violin.
Yeah.
You'd get fucking schlophouse.
Dude.
Yeah.
You'd get ass kicked out the door.
Yeah.
So you get these guys coming, I don't want to use the console. The fuck, why are you here?
Yeah, you don't know what you're doing.
You know how to tune this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's kind of,
Yeah, yeah.
you're getting paid top dollar to do your fucking job,
Yeah.
and you don't know how to do it, and you're blaming them for not training you.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, I mean, look, if they sprung it on you, fair enough. But if this is your craft, this is your instrument, the console is my instrument,
Yeah.
the violin is my instrument, you should be ashamed of yourself.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
should go walk the
yeah,
hall of fucking shame
Yeah.
if you can't fucking work that gear. man.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm a huge advocate of kind of like learn. Coming back to, YouTube University, it's all fucking there.
It's
You
all
know?
there. It's been great talking to you, Andy.
Fucking Andy.
We gotta do this
Yeah.
again.
Yeah, I was thinking that too. I want to do it again too.
Oh, lots more stories, buddy.
Fucking
Lots more
tomorrow.
stories, man.
That was
That was brilliant.
fucking great.
That's great. Thank you
Was
very
that
much,
fucking
Andy.
great? That was fucking great.
That's great. Andy, everybody. We'll talk again soon.
We'll put a little link to your YouTube.
Yeah.
thing.
Andy's Rec Room. Thanks, guys.
Andy's
Andy's
Rec
Rec
Room.
Room.
Check it out,
What
guys.
the fuck? That was
Peace
killer.
out.
Okay, nobody say anything too horrid until we turn these off.
Just gonna.